Welcome back, learners. We are going to take a deep dive into the topic of cell metabolism. And today I'm extremely excited because we're going to kick things off a little teeny tiny bit different. We are going to be doing what is known as a mind map or a concept map, whatever floats your boat. So let's get ready, get your brain open, and let's get excited to learn. Now, I'm going to go ahead and zoom out of my mind map so you guys can see a little bit of my craziness. Boom! When it comes to cell metabolism, these are the terms, or the verbs, or verbiage, or vocab, or whatever that I like to think about or that I easily associate with the term or the phrase cell metabolism. And I'm going to take you guys into a journey of my mind, and we're going to take our time together, and we are going to come out as curious learners wanting to learn even more. The first stop is thermodynamics. And when you think of the term thermodynamic, I want you guys to think of heat, energy, temperature, and a little something I like to call work, honey. Yes. But realistically, to learn a definition of thermodynamics, it's up to you. But what is truly relevant is the first law of thermodynamics, also known as the law of conservation. It basically says that we can't create energy, but we can't destroy it. So energy can neither be created nor destroyed, but it can be transferred from one form to the next. So when we talk about this energy in our bodies, we're not talking about generating energy or creating energy from scratch. We're talking about moving energy from one form that may be unuseful to us, or we're unable to use that form of energy, to another form of energy that is totally useful. Boom. That is just how we're going to say it. So it's how we move from useless energy to useful energy. Yes, I love that. There you go. That is what the law of conservation basically boils down to, because we're not actually making anything. And we're going to switcheroo and go back to our term metabolism. But what is it? And here goes our definition. It's the sum total. It's the sum total of all of the chemical reactions that is currently occurring in your body right at this minute. And all of the buildups and all of the breakdowns are working together to keep us alive. And they're actually working simultaneously or at the same time. There are two types of metabolism. We have anabolism and catabolism. And I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how I remember both of them, or how I differentiate them. When you think of anabolism, think of add up. This is the build up of metabolism. Sorry, not the build up of metabolism, the build up of molecules. And when you think of catabolism, think of catastrophe, think of wild, think of madness, think of the mania. Sorry, I got a little bit carried away. I was getting way too into it. Okay, I'm so sorry. But when you think of catastrophe, you think of something being destroyed. You think of something bad happening. And it's not necessary that something awful is happening in our bodies, but there is a breakdown. There is a destruction. There is initially a break. I was almost gonna say a breakup. A breakdown of molecules. You guys, you're gonna just have to forgive my writing today. You know what I mean. And when we speak of metabolism specifically, we love to speak of this term respiration. And this, by definition, is the process by which we break down food to form energy in the form of ATP. There are two forms, aerobic and anaerobic. Aerobic, you can see it's dressed up in this beautiful circle. Anaerobic, it's boxed in by a lovely square. And with aerobic respiration, we are using oxygen. And this requires more processes, more steps, and it's going to generate for us a greater theoretical yield and even a greater actual yield. Anaerobic respiration does not use oxygen. It's not going to generate as much energy as aerobic respiration. We talked about a few processes. I mentioned that aerobic respiration goes through many steps, more processes, and hence it generates a greater yield. And I'm going to go ahead and discuss for you the 4 key steps in respiration, especially aerobic respiration. All of these 4 steps actually occur. So the first step we have is glycolysis. This takes place in the cytoplasm. And what I want you to remember is the main products. You're going to invest 2 ATP to get a now new total of 2 ATP, right? That's what's usable. You actually generate a total of 4 ATP, but we're only saying we're getting back 2 because we have to repay our debt of the initial investment. So the main products is 2 ATP, 2 pyruvate, and 2 NADH, right? We move down to the pyruvate process, or the pyruvate prep step. That was funny. And in this case, we're going to break down the pyruvate that we got from glycolysis, and we are going to generate 2 molecules of NADH. No ATP at this time, okay? So let's keep track of the total that we now have. We had 2 ATP from glycolysis, and we had 2 NADH from glycolysis. Now we have 4 molecules of NADH because we got 2 molecules of NADH from pyruvate prep. Move down into Krebs cycle, which occurs in the matrix of the mitochondria. Now we're going to generate 2 ATP and 6 molecules of NADH, and another very new molecule called FADH2. We're going to generate 2 molecules of this. So in total, for our substrates, we're going to have, and when I call them substrates, even though they're products, because now they're going to all go into the electron transport chain. And this is where all of our energy is going to now be derived from. So now they were products, now they're going to be substrates into this final stage. We're going to have 4 ATPs, 10 NADH, and 2 molecules of FADH2. When they're all mixed and rearranged and they go through their cycle, and you get the point. When the ETC is finished with them, they're going to produce for us a theoretical yield of about 38 ATP molecules. Now, in actuality, we're probably making about 29 to 30. And again, when I'm saying making, we're transferring energy from one form to the next. We're not generating energy from scratch. We cannot do that. That goes against the first law of thermodynamics, or the law of conservation. And that's why we say our theoretical yield is 38 ATP. But in actuality, as I said, it's about 29 to 30. Some literature will say 32, up to 32, and some literature may say as low as 26. It just depends. But just know we're not actually getting 38 ATP. But you should be able to calculate it. And we're going to calculate it right here. Remember we said we got 4 ATP? 2 came from glycolysis, and the other 2 came from Krebs. I told you we have 10 NADH. 2 came from glycolysis, 2 came from pyruvate processing, and 6 came from Krebs. 1 NADH, equates to 3 ATP. So 3 times 10 is equal to 30 ATP. I told you that we have, or that we get 2 FADH, 2, and this comes from the Krebs. 1 FADH, 2, equates to about 2 ATP. So 2, and this is the 2 we're talking about. 2 times 2, this is the 2 we're talking about, is equal to 4 ATP. And just a tiny bit of a backtrack. The 3 is this, the 10 comes from here. Okay? 30, 34, 38. That's how you calculate it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please remember to like, share, and to subscribe. And thank you so much for taking this wonderful journey with me.